up a dive. Feel the vibe, get ready to ignite. Untold stories in the airways, flying through the night. Experience voices, tales so bold. Streaming live, the truth unfolds. Untold Radio Network, where secrets come alive. New episodes daily, the mysteries thrive. Great guests, super chat, it's so I remember right. Share and subscribe, join the side where truth can't hide. Aliens in the attic, UFOs in the sky. Cryptids lurking, oh my, oh my. Ghosts in the hallway, whispering your name. The paranormal, the unexplained. Become a VIP, get the inside scoop. Unlock the mysteries, be part of the group. Live streaming stories, they're talking to you. Super chats buzzing, join the crew. Untold Radio Network, where secrets come alive. New episodes daily, the mysteries thrive. Great guests, super chat, it's a wild member ride. Share and subscribe, join the side where truth can hide. So if you've got the guts and you want to explore, tune into the Untold, it's what you're looking for. From aliens to ghosts and all that's unseen. Untold Radio Network, where the world's mysteries convene.
The paranormal, UFOs, monsters, mysteries. You're listening to Talking Weird. And now, from a cabin deep in the Northwoods, your host, Dr. Dean Bertram.
Greetings, all my fellow weirdos and weirdettes. Welcome to Talking Weird on the Untold Radio Network. I'm your host, Dean Bertram, and I'm delighted that you've decided to spend the next hour or so of your life with me, whether it's on Facebook or X or YouTube, where we go out live every Thursday night at 9 p.m. Central, or maybe you're watching it on one of those platforms after that time because it's archived there, of course, or maybe you're listening to the audio-only version of the show, which drops on all podcast platforms, along with all the other Untold Radio Network shows. And you should check those out as well if you haven't. They're all great. And anyway, thank you so much for joining me. I'm really excited about tonight. I'm not going to waffle too much about anything that's been going on in my life because it's mainly been freezing weather up here in the Northwoods and working on both Midwest Weird Fest and A Night of Horror. Tonight, we're going to be talking about a very different festival, which looks so incredibly exciting. And we have a very special guest who's the festival director of that festival. She was born and raised in Great Falls, Montana, and is an event coordinator, freelance photographer, and actress who is currently getting ready to launch the first year of the Great Beyond Film Festival as part of her work at Great Falls, Montana Tourism. The Great Falls community has a deep history with UFO sightings, paranormal activity, and is known globally for their mermaids, of all things. We'll be talking about that a little tonight as well, which is what inspired the theme for the festival. The Great Beyond is a film festival for storytellers, seekers, and the seriously curious. It dives deep into the worlds of extraterrestrials, cryptids, and the paranormal, shining a spotlight on the strange, the mysterious, and the stories that live just beyond the edge of what we know. So I'm delighted to welcome to Talking Weird the Great Beyond's festival director, Liz Lauver.
Hello, hello. Kicked on.
I'm so excited to have you.
I am so excited to be here. This is exciting.
I think you're the first other festival director I've had on the show, for starters, so that makes me excited.
I'm just excited to meet with another festival director because this is my first go at it.
I tell you what, you're doing a great show. All the promotional stuff looks fantastic. The festival looks so amazing. Great Falls looks so great. I'm so I've already mentioned your show a number of your festival a number of times on this show, that it's a festival that the Shaver Mystery is screening at in the very near future. But maybe we can kick off with you telling us a little bit about Great Falls, Montana, and then a little bit about how you came to run the Great Beyond Film Festival.
Sure. So Great Falls, I actually am giving away my age here, but I've been here for 29 years. And we're a lot of people see us as just kind of like this small town in the middle of Montana. We're not Bozeman or Kalispell or Missoula, like the big names that everyone knows. But we're a very unique community with a very weird history, which is why I love it here. I told you, we're known for UFOs, we're known for ghosts and our mermaids. So we're pretty much killing it.
No, I'm super excited about all of that. And so I guess that was the impetus of the festival, but the fact that Great Falls is known for all these very strange things. I can't wait to talk to you about the mermaids shortly as well. But so how did you become the person who runs the festival? Did you have an interest in the paranormal, an interest in cinema, an interest in both?
A little bit of everything. So I actually started my position with Great Falls Tourism a year and a half ago. And one of the things they asked me when they were interviewing me, because it's a new position, they said, well, how do you feel about a film festival? That's what we want. We want someone to bring that as well as other events to Great Falls. And I said, absolutely. But I don't want to do another like Western film festival or like outdoors, because part of why I love Great Falls so much is it's so unique. And so I said, hey, boss, do you trust me? I've got an idea for a theme that ties into our history, but is unique and will draw people that don't normally think of Great Falls. So I kicked it off, and I was telling you before this that I talk about my team of film festival people. It's actually just me. So yeah, it's quite the feat, but it's fun.
You're so transparent. You should be going, yeah, the team of like 20, we've just been slaving away.
My team of 40,000. I have 15 awesome volunteers coming out next week to help as the event kicks off, but all of the planning and stuff, yeah, I've been winging it.
What was it like putting together like an actual film program for the first time ever? Like was there a mechanism you decided on, or did you start, watching the films with you and anybody else who was programming and talk about it, or maybe chat a little bit about that?
Yeah. So what we did is we worked through Film Freeway, got our festival listed, and took submissions that way. And then I grabbed two of my friends who I make films with, and then our media director for the organization I work for. And we all sat down and watched dozens and dozens of hours of movies, and I got their feedback, and then we kind of said, we like this, we don't like this, and basically built a run of show based on, okay, so I scheduled 2-hour blocks for shorts 2 days in a row, so we need to fill that time. How many can we fit in that time? And selected that way.
It's tough, isn't it? Because I bet you had so many films you wanted to play, and there wasn't the space for them.
Yeah, it was hard. I think with it being our first year, doing 2 full days and 1 evening showing is hard, because I want to just be like, let's make it 2 weeks. Let's have this forever, because there were a lot of good films that we had to turn down, and that was a bummer for sure.
I'm just grateful the Shaver Mystery is a part of it. Are there some of the films you particularly want to talk about? Like, are there some you'd like to, pitch at the moment, or?
Yeah, well, the one that I have been really talking up is the Haunted Bell Down School. That one right there. So that little girl on the poster, she actually wrote and directed the film.
Wow.
She produced it. She is 9 years old. She's homeschooled. So she wrote this script and then partnered with a filmmaker at a local college where she lives, and they put together this short horror film that is honestly incredible. I emailed her mom right away and was like, hey, can you guys come and join us for this film festival? Because that's crazy. It's pretty impressive.
That's super exciting. The weirdest thing, speaking of 9-year-olds making movies, I'm literally finishing at the moment a short film. We only have 2 shots left to shoot in the movie, and then that's literally it. The only reason it's not finished is because we had such brutal cold here recently. The finale is at the door, and my front door, and the door has to be open to shoot the finale, and it's been too cold to do it. Literally, we've had minus 35-degree wind chills and things. But that film, literally, my 9-year-old, she just turned 10, but my 9-year-old co-wrote that movie with me and stars in that movie. And it's just
That's so
literally,
cool.
it's such a tiny little crew. It's literally myself, my girlfriend who produced with me, my mother who's visiting from Australia at the moment, co-starring, who designed kind of the monster costume without giving anything away, and my daughter, and that's it. So, but it's wonderful to see another. I can't wait to see. I want to see this movie now. I'd love to see The Haunted Bell Down School by another little girl. They're so creative when they're that age. It's incredible.
And I really admire her family for encouraging that and providing a space for her to do that instead of being like, maybe don't. I think it's really cool when parents are supportive that way.
Is it spooky? It sounds like it's spooky.
It is. Especially for a short film, it's pretty spooky. I had a couple people who saw the post about it on Facebook, and they were like, I don't know if we can do this festival. It looks kind of scary.
Did you say are they from Montana, or are they from elsewhere, or?
They are from, I want to say they might be from Michigan. They're out east somewhere. Yeah. So I'm excited to have them out. And I didn't actually send you the poster we have a short film, speaking of scary movies, called Killer Geist that's going to be showing. I totally forgot but that's our one Great Falls film that we've got that we filmed it in one of the ghost hunt locations that we're actually doing some research at during the festival. A crew I'm part of, we filmed a found footage horror movie in this bar overnight. We were locked in. And it was pretty cool. Yeah, that'll show there as well.
Is it a short or a feature? About what's the runtime on that?
It's 35 minutes, so it's a short.
Okay. Yeah.
That's
exciting to have a film involved in the festival as well. I know what that's like as a filmmaker and a festival director. It's sometimes you sneak your own one in there because why not?
That's what well, and what the people I had help me pick films are also in that film. And so we were like, no, we're not going to do this. We're not going to do this. We're not putting it in there. And then our person who was not at all involved in the movie was like, actually, you should put it in as a Great Falls film, but don't let it be selected for anything. Just play it as a bonus film. So that's what we did with it.
I do the same thing. The few times I've screened films of my own over the 20 years I've been doing this, they've never been in competition. You know what I mean? They've never been pushed in the press releases. It's just, I thought they're worth screening. If I thought they were junk, and the reality is I'm fortunate enough that those films have also played at a bunch of other fests. So I'm like, well, they played elsewhere. So I'm assuming I'm not the only person who liked my film.
Yeah. And this one, we just we wanted to throw it in mostly because we filmed it in Great Falls. So it's a nice, here's a Great Falls plug, but also where we filmed it is one of the haunt locations where we're going to send paranormal teams with some of our fest guests.
Wow.
Yeah. We're doing overnight ghost hunts as part of the film festival. I've got paranormal teams coming from all over the state, and they're going to take people into some of our most haunted places. So
that's super exciting.
Yeah. It's going to be, I think, 6 a.m. to 2 a.m. work days for me for 3 days straight.
You'll just be running on adrenaline and whatever else. I don't know what else the other stimulant of choice is, coffee or margaritas, whatever it is. That's what you'll be running on.
Margaritas and hopes and dreams. hopes and dreams.
Can you tell me a little bit about any weird experiences you guys had when you were making that film?
Yeah, so it was the biggest one actually was the whole premise of the film is we're just playing ourselves and we're filming us setting up this haunted house, and everyone's kind of sharing their scary story. And so what we did there is we created this horror movie surrounding the idea of all of the ghost stories that had happened in that building. Well, watching it back, probably the 8th or 9th time I had to watch it during screenings, I heard this thunk sound in the movie. And I was like, oh, that's when I was up in the attic and threw something to try to scare the people below. But the last time I watched it, the thunk happened, and then our director who's filming it moves the camera, and you see me standing downstairs. So it wasn't me that made the sound. And so I still don't know how that happened. And it didn't register until recently watching it. And that was my first big experience in that building, because it's been shut down and being renovated for most of my adult life. So I hadn't really spent much time in there. But oh, you're still muted, Dean.
That's the joys of having a media savvy person. Have you many other experiences doing other investigations or other paranormal experiences you can share?
So I did a couple years ago, we used to have we did a ghost tour in Great Falls, where we would hop on our old trolley and it would take us to various like historical houses. We've had a lot of like brothels in our history, and a lot of fires, like mysterious fires in our history. So takes you on a tour of all those places, and we hear ghost stories of all the places. And there's one, it's called the Wild Hare now. It's a bar in town, but it used to be called the Lobby. And it's known for its upstairs level being like super haunted. So multiple developers have bought it and started renovations on the whole building, and they've never been able to finish the upstairs because stuff goes wrong. And so when we were there, just kind of wandering about during the ghost tours, a couple had asked me to take a picture of them in between some like studs in the construction. So I went and took the picture and handed them their phone back, not thinking anything of it. And then all of a sudden they were like, oh my gosh. And they were freaking out. And I was like, what? And they showed me their phone, and there was a third person in their picture. And I went into that whole thing being kind of skeptical of it, but like the clarity that person in that photo is there, and I took the picture and they were not there when I took the picture. It definitely changed my opinion on the paranormal.
When you have paranormal experiences, you almost corrected me again about my mic being muted.
I did not.
It should have popped back on, and it didn't. My mic has been playing up tonight. It's weird. When you have those type of experiences and you're interested in the paranormal, I think all it does is solidify that interest, because you're out there and something's happened to you and you're like, well, there is something weird other than day-to-day reality.
Yeah, and it was one of those things where I kind of laughed it off, and then I saw the picture and I was like, holy smokes. It was just, yeah, because it was like clear as day, a person standing in between. So the couple's like this and the pillars are here, and there's a third person standing in the middle of them. It was super weird. And that building actually used to be a brothel. That was the one that was the old brothel. So it's got a dark history for sure.
Yeah, I think there are a number of haunted brothels, liminal spaces like hotels, hospitals, brothels, places where people come and go, and often there is, I suppose, drama or trauma associated with them on top of lots of people coming and going, tend to be places that are haunted.
Yeah, I feel like with the constant coming and going of people and the trauma that happens in those spaces, there's bound to be like energy left.
Yeah. No, I agree. I've looked at your program, obviously, because I'm grateful to have my film in it, and because I'm in this space, I've seen a couple of the films, and I think that I commend you on your programming, not just because you program my film, but just in general. There's a film called Grilled Cheese, which I don't want to give any spoilers, but it's such an amazing film because it deals, which so often is overlooked, I think, it deals with the personal kind of impact of what happens when somebody encounters the unexplained. Very powerful movie.
I love that was one of my favorites. The first time I watched it, I was like, okay, yeah, I like this. And then I watched it a second time and really like let myself fully watch it. And it was like it's one that I described to my team as just beautiful. Like it was just beautifully done.
Yeah. It's from the UK.
Yeah,
right?
we had a few.
Yeah.
Yep. And they wanted to make the journey out too, but they were like, it's kind of far.
It's hard, it's always hard to travel to festivals. That's the biggest heartbreak for me on although I've been so grateful and I feel so lucky that the Shaver Mysteries had such a great run, but there's it's so difficult for me to get to fests, and it's heartbreaking every time I can't get to one, you know? It's just like
Hmm.
it's so sad because you wanna go and you celebrate the festival that's celebrating you. You want to engage with your audience. I encourage any filmmakers who can get to a festival to go, as well as audiences. One of the things I love about festivals, and if this is your first year, you're going to experience and really love, is the filmmakers who come, their ability to screen their film in front of the audience and for the audience to be able to engage with them. It's really magical. There's nothing else like it. It's so
Hmm.
special.
Yeah, and the filmmakers that are coming out are actually doing at the end of each screening block, any of the filmmakers from that block that are in attendance will come to the stage and we're going to do a Q&A session. And then also give them the opportunity to come to all of like our after party events and all the stuff to just spend time together and celebrate what they've done because it's pretty cool.
No, it's that's the I think it's important to have that situation. Your audience will love it as well.
Mhm.
Like they'll
Yeah.
love engaging with the filmmakers, and the filmmakers enjoy it too. I have a question from a good friend of mine, and who's been a guest on the show a number of times. He asks, "Are
Mhm.
there any cases of possession or exorcisms that you know of in Great Falls?"
Not that I've seen firsthand, but I do know a friend of mine that owns several buildings in our downtown, which I will go on and say again that it's got a deeply haunted history. Our downtown does. She owns several buildings, and there was a complaint one day from one of the shop owners in the lower unit of this tall building that she was hearing shrieking and screaming and didn't know what was going on.
Wow.
Um, and so the owner went upstairs to ask the tenant what was going on. And they had a priest in there doing a full blown exorcism above the shop on like a Tuesday afternoon. And she's like, I didn't know what to do because you can't be like, hey, you can't do an exorcism. But that's the only
Wow.
case that I know of off the top of my head. But I mean, it wouldn't surprise me. We've got all kinds of crazy stuff here.
No, I think all small towns have their own weirdness, and that question was from, Bob Antone, by the way. I didn't think who I
Cool.
said it was. And when you start to sniff around and ask people questions, the amount of strange stories that come up are, it's unbelievable. The cinema we've been using here for Midwest Weird Fest since we started, it's a beautiful cinema, the Micon Downtown Cinema. You start to talk about strangeness, or they know you're interested in the staff and the owners, and they'll go, "Yeah, this cinema's haunted." And they'll all tell you, you ask every staff member, "Yeah, we saw a little girl who shouldn't have been up there on a camera one night, and there was nobody up there," or, "I've heard whisperings in the basement," or so as soon as you start
Mhm.
asking, I think if you're open to these ideas and you or people know you're open to these ideas, you'll start to hear these tales.
Oh, for sure. We have my great grandmother, so most of my family still lives here. My great grandmother used to live along the river here, and our family has a photo in rotation of it looks like a person walking into the river on the trail cam, but it was a person that wasn't there.
Wow.
Like, yeah. Yeah, we've got some good activity around here.
Ken Rock, another regular viewer of the show, hey Ken, thanks for being here, asks, "Do you know why Great Falls is so haunted?"
I truly think that Great Falls is haunted just because of it, like I said, it has kind of a dark history. We started out as like an industrial town. We had like trains was the main thing, lots of trains coming through. And with that came a lot of unfair work environments, unsafe work environments. And then we also had the brothels, which were unfair and unsafe environments in their own. So with I think naturally with all of the negativeness of that, as much as it stinks to have to say, I think that leaves the door open for things to happen after those people have passed on. Like they were treated unfairly. There's so much trauma and negative energy left in a space. They've got questions, and so we're haunted.
Yeah, no, that makes total sense. Now, there's another film, that we can talk about that I've seen, and we'll talk about some that I haven't seen, and it's a horror short you're playing, which is called 154. Just an incredible short. I love that
Yeah,
film so much. It's so good.
that one was one of the few ones we had that dealt with something like because it's an eldritch terror, right? So something that wasn't like, oh, this is a ghost or this is demons, this is aliens. We're like, oh, here's kind of like delving into the cryptid of it
Right.
all, which I really loved. And that was another one that I thought was just so well done. Like it's the same kind of, without giving anything away, it's kind of the same cycle throughout the entire short, but I was never like, okay, here we go again. I was like, okay, here we go again.
Yeah, it's a clever film. I really enjoyed it, As you know, when you watch a lot of films, you can watch half a dozen and nothing will ring or capture you, and then you watch,
Mhm.
one, and all of a sudden you're, like, really engaged in it, and that was one of those movies that
Mhm.
when I hit it, I'm like, "Wow, this is" it's really grabbed me by the throat.
Yeah, that was one of probably my top ones as well, for sure.
And here's a film that I haven't seen as of yet, and that's Night Shift at Ned's. You sent me the poster. The poster looks
Yes.
amazing. I like the title too. Can you tell me a little bit about that movie?
Yeah, so this one was actually one of our first submissions. This one was, I think, our very, very first submission.
How
And from the
exciting.
second I watched it, I was like, that one's in. That one's great. Um, just what they did with the budget that they had, and then like, I don't know, it was one that was just so well put together. And like the big thing for me is there's a character in this film that the actor plays three different people in the film, and until the credits rolled, I did not know it was the same person.
Oh,
And
wow.
that's what sold it for me. Yeah. Yeah, because normally, I mean, you can kind of tell sometimes, but this one I had no clue, and I was like, wow, okay, cool.
That is cool. I really wanna see it.
Guess
I
you
wanna
gotta come out.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I really want to. I
Yeah.
really want, and we'll talk about one of the mermaids, which is another reason I want to come out. We'll talk about that. In fact, let's talk about that now before we roll
Okay.
into
Yeah, sounds good.
to another film, because I've got a couple others to talk about with you. Tell me a little bit about the mermaids of
The
Great Falls.
mermaids. Yeah, so we are, I will say it, we're world renowned for our mermaids. We have a tiki lounge called the Sip and Dip. It's actually built within what's called the O'Hare Inn, this vintage style hotel in our downtown district. They have this tiki bar that used to have a piano player. Her name was Piano Pat. She'd play music, and while you're in there, there's this whole wall of glass, and it's a pool behind there, and the mermaids are swimming and interacting with people almost every night of the week, which is pretty cool. So they have their little lounge singer. You can get your drinks, you can watch the mermaids. They do brunch for kids on the weekends. And it's something that people come out here for. Like Bill Nye the Science Guy is known to actually love it there. Nicolas Cage has been there. Like just random people come out specifically for that.
Man, I wanna come just for that now. I mean, I'm all excited about the fest, but that bar sounds amazing.
It's
Just
pretty cool.
cool. So, have you I know
It's
you're an actress as well. Have you ever been a mermaid there?
I actually, fun fact, I used to, before I was doing working for the theater company that I work for now, I was a princess for hire. So I worked for a company where we would do parties, and we were like not Disney princesses at all of these at all of these parties. And my boss for there was a mermaid, and she offered me a job, and at the time I was working three jobs, and so I was like, sorry, can't mermaid. Would love to, but I can't fit it in my schedule. It was, what
Oh,
they do is crazy. I can't even yeah, it's it's a whole different level of athleticism, those mermaids. Because you
do
think
they
they
yeah,
can't breathe,
do they hold
and
their breath and they go down for a long time? Wow, that's
mhm, and
almost a
they're
little
like
scary.
blowing bubbles and kisses at people and spinning and doing tricks, and it's, yeah, they're really, really, really cool.
Yeah, it's very cool. It's also there's when you described it, then there was something a little bit claustrophobic and scary about me if I was a performer, like being under there in your mermaid tail and
Yeah.
oh gosh.
We've had a few people, like musicians and comedians, come out to perform at one of the venues here, and they'll go to the Sip and Dip after and be honorary mermaids and go swim with the mermaids. It's, yeah, it's silly, but it's really, really cool also.
It sounds super cool. Now, I do wanna roll back into other films in a minute, but I think something about the festival that you sent mentioned that there's lots of UFO sightings or there have been UFO sightings in Great Falls. Can you talk a little bit
Yeah,
about
so
some of those? Or
I actually saw on the comments thing on the bottom of the screen, someone brought it up. In 1950, we were known as like one of the first places in the world to have film footage of a UFO, the Mariana film. So what's now it's called the Voyager Stadium. It's our baseball stadium. They caught a UFO, and that was like one of the first big things. So that's kind of our history with it. Yeah.
that's
And so
amazing.
now we have our baseball team is called the Voyagers, and they're the aliens. That's our mascot. It's pretty cool. We've
What a perfect place
really
for a
leaned
weird,
in.
yeah, perfect place for a weird festival.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I love all of the normal Western outdoorsy stuff like every other Montana human, but I was really stoked to be able to lean into kind of the weirdness of it.
Such a great choice. I think that I commend you for having made that decision instead of gone
Thank you.
with something just outdoors. You know that again, I mean, I love the outdoors as well, but I
Hmm.
also love the weird even more. Are there Bigfoot stories, cryptid stories in the Great Falls area?
I don't know a lot about the Bigfoot sightings around here. Most of what we've got is just the aliens and ghosts. I know in western parts of the state, like towards Missoula, there's rumors of like mountain people, similar to like the hills have eyes, like spooky stuff, car problems, weird people in the mountains, but not so close to Great Falls. But I think that's because we have a military base, honestly.
Ah, interesting. I wonder if that's why you have UFO activity as well because of the military base.
Because of the military base. That's why we have less now.
So maybe. Let's roll back into films for a little bit and leave the paranormal or the actual the non-cinematic paranormal for a moment. What about this film? What Unexpected Treasures? I haven't seen this. Looks interesting. Intriguing title.
Yeah, so this is one of our feature films. It's about an alien who is lost on Earth, and a human finds him, and he's kind of like, "Can you help me? I'm on the run." There's obviously a bounty hunter trying to hunt him, and it's just kind of their journey to try to escape this guy while figuring out how to fix why he's stuck here in the first place. This is another one. The director of this film actually has worked on what's it, Outer Banks, so he's in the industry. So it's another one that's really well done. I think they filmed it kind of in this desert scape, which I think is cool for an alien film because it just adds an extra, like, I don't know. A lot of
Yeah.
things make the world seem small, and aliens are so big. So I think doing it in something as vast as the desert kind of expanded that
No, I
universe,
agree.
I guess.
Yeah, I agree, and I think that there is such connection within the UFO mythology between desert and UFO stories, whether
Mhm.
it's like the Socorro sighting in the desert of New Mexico, or whether it's Roswell, of
Yeah.
course, also in New Mexico, or whether it's Area 51 in the desert of Nevada. There's something about these desert spaces which very much seems like they become associated, really. You know, the Southwest, the
Mhm.
deserts of the Southwest have become interconnected and inseparable from modern UFO lore, I think.
Mhm. And I just thought of that. Like, I wonder if it has something to do with thinking about like all the other planets. It's like just even in our solar system, if something about like the desert scape versus mountains and lush trees and everything has something to do with why there's so much more sightings there.
Interesting. Yeah,
Like
that
a familiarity.
maybe, maybe. No, but it certainly resonates at some kind of archetypal level, you know, weird,
Mhm.
UFO stuff in the desert. Now, I know you're not just screening films, although that's obviously the major part of what you do because it's a film
Mhm.
festival, but you're having classes and other things as well. Maybe we chat a little bit about some of those.
Yeah, so when I was coming up with the concept for this festival, I really wanted it to be almost like a convention of sorts. So we're having the film screening and we'll have like the after parties and all that, but we're also offering workshops. So we have a couple people, Alex Raymond and Ross Laser from Script Anatomy. They're coming out. So Alex is going to be teaching this world building class. So coming out and just teaching people the foundations of where to start when creating their films, it's a really cool opportunity that he's offering.
What's
And the way
what's Alex's background, just quickly for people as well?
yeah, so he's worked with like NBC, Netflix, Hulu, A&E, and the way that Script Anatomy works is all of their professors have to be working in the industry simultaneously. So he's not just teaching these classes, he's also working on sets. And so that was one thing that set them kind of apart when I was looking for these people to come teach classes. I wanted it to be educational, but I wanted it to also be like a higher level of education, even for people just now getting into it. And they were like, absolutely, we're in. This sounds great. We'll be there. So we got pretty lucky with this group. He's teaching that one. And then Ross is going to be teaching the Jump Scares and Nightmares workshop. So teaching people the foundations of how to create a horror movie, which I am really excited. I'm going to have to probably sit in on this one. Because
that sounds exciting.
Horror is kind of my thing. Yeah.
We want to sit in on that one as well. That sounds great.
Yeah. So he'll be up here teaching that class. And then we're also offering special effects makeup because I wanted to give people the foundations for film, but also those of us who are like, oh, I would also like to be on the visual effects side of things. So Kat Sketch, she's actually a beauty influencer and makeup artist based out of Texas. She's going to be teaching us how to do some scar work as well as like prosthetics. And she's doing a really cool frostbite look, which I thought was appropriate for Montana in the winter.
Indeed. I almost get frostbite every time I go out, even here in Wisconsin. Lately, I'm going out. My gloves aren't even working in the winter. My girlfriend bought me some heated gloves the other day because I'm always moaning and complaining that I was wearing gloves out there and I think I've got frostbite. So, yeah, it's bad here too. So I feel the pain. Anyway, sorry. Back to
no. We got lucky this year. We're looking at, I think next weekend's supposed to be like 60 degrees.
Get out of town. Here we're like almost negative 60, not quite, but
it's normally winter this time is when we get like our huge blizzard and it's really, really cold. But yeah, we're looking at like 60 degrees. So I said, all of you guys fly on out. It's going to be warm here.
That's even more tempting.
Yeah. But Kat's doing all of those special effects makeup classes. And the way I constructed the itineraries for the weekend, I wanted to make sure that everyone who bought an all access pass would get to take every single one of the workshops. So I'm dividing pass holders into two different groups. One group will take special effects in the morning and script writing in the afternoon. And then the next day they flip. So they get to take everything. Just to kind of maximize and not make people pick and choose, because some people are just getting into the industry and want to know where they fit in.
Yeah, no, it's good that you've balanced it out so people can go and check out these different things. They all seem amazing, actually. I'd want to sit in on all of them, and I will if I actually am able to get there. Horace Smith, who's Professor Emeritus of Astronomy and Physics at Michigan State University, a good friend of the show, also a guest on the show previously, asks, how many of the films were made in Montana?
I think 4 of the 20 films were made in Montana, and a good variety. We've got Killergeist, which was made here and is a horror short, pretty basic horror, found footage, awesome. Not just saying it's awesome because I made it, but it was pretty good. And then we have a ghost hunting one. Some ghost hunters, actually, this is a documentary, went into a Montana bookstore and did some ghost expeditions, and it's their footage from that experience. We've got one of the indigenous schools film programs in Montana made an alien movie, and that one was really cool. I'm excited to see that one again. And then we have one that is a short film that's actually a dance movie, making reference to a woman who passed away on the land that they filmed on. So we've got a good variety.
Oh, cool. You sure do have a good variety. What about the festival are you most looking forward to? Like, is there an aspect of it that you really can't wait to experience in person for the first time running a fest?
Yeah, I think I'm most excited just to have everyone there together. Like, it sounds so like cheesy when I say it out loud, but the idea of, as someone who makes films and like writes scripts, does plays, all that stuff, having a bunch of people that are the same, or people who are interested in delving into that world and being able to share that experience with them, I'm most excited for that. Closely followed by the ghost hunts. The overnight ghost hunts is close second.
No, there's a great joy in creatives who maybe previously haven't met, spending time together at an event like yours.
Hmm.
And it's also great to see the audience interact with them, to be honest. I think you're going to really enjoy that when, like, I don't think when I first started festivals, that's necessarily something I even thought about how cool it would be. But when I saw it happening, when I saw audiences interacting with the filmmakers and vice versa, I was like, this is just, and that's still my favorite experience of running festivals, like
Hmm.
seeing filmmakers and their audience interconnect. Because as we know, when you go to a megaplex or something, you don't have that experience. The filmmaker doesn't get
Right.
to see if you're enjoying the movie. You certainly don't get to talk to the filmmaker, but you're offering experience where there is that there's that
Hmm.
interconnectedness, which is so rare.
Yeah, yeah. And I think having opportunities for both sides of that to like hang out together is going to be, it's just going to be a really cool experience, I think.
We have another question from Horace, and he says, "Are the ghosts in a bookstore from characters in the books who died?" That's interesting question.
Well, I would say probably not, because most of the books are probably, made up stories, but um it was a bookstore that was known to have a ghost history, and so there was a paranormal team who went out there just to see what it was about, and one of the guys is like, okay, sure, this is a waste of time, and then by the time they left, he's like, oh, okay, maybe not a waste of time.
It's interesting speaking regarding Horace's question. There's a recent book by Joshua Cutchin, who's a good friend of mine. He's been on the show a number of times. It's super insightful about the paranormal. And it's certainly things
Mhm.
that people have noted before Joshua did this major work on it. But there's a history of people having encounters with fictional characters, quite often the authors who created them.
Mhm.
Like, do you know what I mean? Like, all of a sudden on your doorstep is somebody from the book you wrote briefly, and then they
Mhm.
vanish, or
And
a
then they're gone.
house. Sorry, what was that?
I said, and then they're gone.
Yeah, it's super weird. For example, there was I think John Keel was one of the first people who noted it. He's the great author of the Mothman Prophecies, of course, among with and several other books. I met John briefly, and he was probably one of the people who most influenced my own thinking in the paranormal. But Keel talked about a story that I think there was I think it was somewhere out east, but there was this house which was haunted by this character who was always in shadow and had, a broad hat and an overcoat, and nobody could see him clearly. And then people worked out this was the building that the creator of the famous character, the Shadow, which was, it was very everything, comic books to novels to, I think, serials in the movies to, there was a more recent film, I think, about the Shadow. But that's where the author lived when he created this character. And this place was now haunted by essentially what people were describing as the Shadow, which is super weird.
That's crazy.
I
That makes
know.
me wonder, like, whether or not he wrote it based on the influence of what he experienced there, or if, again, like going back to the energy of what we create, if he almost gave like a sentience to
Right.
the energy he was kind of putting out there.
Like a tulpa, like this idea that there's these things that are created by our own consciousness and then somehow are separate from us. Super strange. And maybe that's what movies and cinema do to a degree. They create, whether they seep into the world like this, but they create other characters that we invest in and somehow seem to us as real as people we interconnect with in our daily lives. Sometimes movies are more powerful than our
Hmm.
experiences in life. Sometimes our experiences sitting in a cinema, sitting in a festival like The Great Beyond can resonate with you longer than your experiences in the real world.
Yeah, I think we're humans, especially in the States, are very like fast paced, go, go, go all the time. Don't take time to slow down and really register what's happening. But when you're watching a film or experiencing a festival, you're like kind of forced to just stop for a second. And so you're able to absorb that. And I think that's why people enjoy it so much.
I think so too. And I think that a film that works well somehow pushes the buttons of our subconscious and hits certain archetypes that ring, true throughout the culture. And that's one of the reasons these things are so powerful as well. When you were younger, when you were little, did you have any paranormal or strange experiences?
Not really as a kid. I think more of it came as I was kind of in my youth, and it was more of just like not necessarily like seeing things happening, but just like feeling like you can feel when you're being watched or feel when you're not alone. And like my very first apartment I actually had by myself, I had what I named Charlie. I was very convinced this presence's name was Charlie. And it started out as like one day I was just sitting on my couch watching TV, and then there was someone sitting next to me, and I felt it and I knew that it was there. And as I decided to like jokingly converse with this thing that was constantly now around in my house day to day, it showed up more. So there was one night where I was leaving my apartment building with my cousin, and there was a lamp out front, and I was telling her about Charlie, and I was like, oh yeah, sometimes he turns off that lamp because he thinks he's being funny, because then I'm in the dark and I can't see where I'm going, and he's hilarious. And she's like, whatever, you're so full of it. And I was like, did you hear that, Charlie? She doesn't believe you. And sure enough, the light switched to low, like turned down.
Wow.
And she goes, oh, that's just coincidence. And I was like, Charlie, she thinks it's just a coincidence. And this light was like a warm yellow light normally, and it flashed bright white, and she took off down the block. She was like, nope, I'm good. And that was Charlie. And he never, like, it wasn't ever a presence where I felt not safe or like he wanted to do any harm. He was just a silly, goofy presence, and he liked to play pranks.
Wow. What do you think Charlie was?
I don't know. I kind of got this feeling that he was like I don't know. He was like an old man who had this like the spirit of a young kid. Like he was old, but he'd always been kind of just like a goofball. Like the kind of old man who plays pranks on people in the grocery store. That's what I got from Charlie.
Wow.
He was cool. Yeah. When I moved apartments, I was sad.
Yeah, I was going to say, was he there with you the whole time you were in that apartment? Like, was it a constant kind of thing?
Yeah. So within a couple months of me moving in there, I kind of started to get a feel of the fact that this person or being was there. And then when I left, I was like, man, I told him, I was like, you want to come with? Like, I'm moving, but hop in this box. Like, let's go. It didn't. But yeah, he was cool. And again, like never felt threatened or anything, just like a weird roommate.
Wow, that was going to be my next question. Did anything follow you when you left there? Did you have an interest in the paranormal before that Charlie experience, or was that kind of your beginning of your interest in this space? Or
I've always been into like the odd, like whether it be aliens, ghosts, cryptids, like everything I put into this festival, I'm just super jazzed about because it's stuff I've found interesting since I was really little. I've always been, I was the kid who kind of hung out in the library and was reading scary stories to tell in the dark. I've always found it super interesting. And so to be able as an adult to really lean into the things that I was excited about as a kid is awesome.
are you finding that the Great Falls community, I mean, I'm guessing they're excited to have a film festival, but are they excited that it's a weird film festival? Like, what's your feedback on that kind of angle?
We surprisingly haven't gotten negative feedback. We've had a couple people in like our promotional stuff who are like, you will not be seeing me there. And I'm like, okay, I mean, that's fine. But we have that with pretty much any event. There's always going to be someone who's not interested in it. But I think there's a large community in Montana who is interested in the weird and the odd and doesn't have a place for that. And so I wanted to create that space. So we're adding, we'll have like oddities market vendors there and these ghost hunts, and just like the general theme creates a space for all of these people to kind of commune.
Is David Paulides based in Montana? I know he's out west somewhere. Do you know who David Paulides is?
I do not know who that is. I have not heard of
Paulides is
him.
a very famous figure in, I guess, the UFO, Bigfoot, weird kind of world. He wrote, I think he's written over a dozen books now under the Missing 411 kind of heading, and he started writing books. He was an ex-law enforcement officer who became interested in Bigfoot research. And when he was doing some Bigfoot research, I think maybe near a national park somewhere, some park rangers knocked on his door at night, I believe, and said something along the lines of, "You should really look into disappearances in national parks because it's super weird." And then
Yeah, I have heard of that.
yeah, and so
I think I have.
I think he's out west. I think like next year or going, and I think he's made 3 Missing 411 films, which are all great. And I think I haven't seen his latest, which is a Bigfoot film, but he'd be a great guest. I don't know if he's in Montana. He's certainly out west. He's like Montana, Idaho, Wyoming, one of those areas around where you guys are. Yeah, he'd be an interesting guest going forward in your second year, I think.
Yeah, that would be really super cool. I want to kind of over the next couple years expand it and offer a larger variety. So not even just filmmaking workshops, but paranormal hunting workshops or UFO watching. Like just I want to add opportunities for even people who aren't necessarily film people to get into the weird.
It's a great idea. It's a great idea. When I've got my feature documentary done, The Man Who Invented Flying Saucers, I'll certainly be submitting to you guys. I do think it's a unique space that you're in, and there's a few other festivals, but not many. I think Midwest Weird Fest, the fest I run, inhabits that space. There's a 40 Film Fest in the UK, but I think there's more room for this. So I'm so glad to know that there's one in Montana now that's happy to, have this mix of genre and paranormal films and documentaries and weirdness, and also extend, like you're talking about, even more, like you're doing ghost hunts this year. But would you ever think about doing any Bigfooty stuff there? Or you said there maybe isn't a whole lot of Bigfoot in that part of the world.
Not that I've heard of, but I'm sure if we found the right people, there's probably people who have had Bigfoot sightings here, especially more towards like the western part of the state, up in the mountains.
Right.
It would be really interesting to try to create. I mean, it would have to be longer than 3 days, but almost like a getaway experience where people can go and do these workshops, maybe not necessarily in the center of the city, maybe on the outskirts towards the hills. Could be cool.
Yeah, I only asked because the network I'm on, the Untold Radio Network, is a very squatchy network. It's a very big footy network. I'm more of the UFO wheelhouse guy, so I'm super excited about the potential of you having UFO-y stuff there as well, which is great. It shouldn't all just be in the desert states. It should be able to,
bring it to the mountains.
Exactly. Bring it to the mountains as well. Are there any things? And maybe there aren't. I'm only asking because I have to, and I'm interested. Is there anything unique to the Montana area in the way of creatures? Like maybe we have the Wendigo up north here, or maybe there's a chupacabra down in the. Is there something in the mountainous area which is kind of unique-ish when it comes to that kind of stuff?
Other than, well, we've got the rumors of the people in the mountains that aren't actually people. No one really knows what they are, other than they throw off technology, they throw off people's vehicles, and they mean harm towards people. We have had Wendigo sightings in this state, allegedly. I don't know of any firsthand, but when I was doing digging, I was like, okay, what do we got up here in Montana for cryptids? That was one. There's supposedly Bigfoot sightings, but the big one that I've heard about is the mountain people.
Yeah, I'm interested to know more about the mountain people. That's spooky.
Yeah, that actually started out back when creepypasta was a thing. A friend of mine that had just moved here from Colorado. He's like, I was like reading up on trying to find weird things about Montana, and I read about these people. And the more we did digging into it, it was just like unsettling. People that very much weren't people but wanted to cause harm and look like people but kind of not.
That's super spooky. It's like the not deer thing. Have you heard about the not deer thing?
No.
Yeah, there's meant to be things that at first, and I'm no expert on this, but you know, you move in these circles and you hear these kind of stories. There's meant to be these things, not deers is what they're called. And at first you might think they're a deer, but on closer like observation, when you look at them, they're clearly not deer. There's something far weirder and strange, and they kind of camouflage as deer. So the not people thing I hadn't heard of before. That's even maybe creepier than the not deer, which is also creepy.
Yeah. Not deer is weird. Like they shape shift, or
you look at them and they're weird. There's something else. They at first look like deer, but then they're clearly not when you look at them. They're misshapen, or they're
Oh, I should have. If I would have known we would have gotten onto the subject of not deer, I would have grabbed. I have this. I collect skulls, which is super. I collect bones. I've got a collection of bones, but my old bones guy, this guy that would come into town, he's like, hey, I've got all these
everybody's
bones.
got their old bones guys. So
He's the bones guy.
Your old bones.
Yeah, he had this deer skull that he says that he thinks the deer had like some sort of disease, but its antlers fold around and down like this around its face. Not deer, maybe it's a not deer.
Gosh. Squatch Mama just said mostly sighted in the Appalachians, apparently the not deer are.
Oh, the not deer. Yeah. I'm gonna have to do some more digging into them, because that's kind of a weird concept.
It's creepy. I think generally anything that you think is something and then it's something else is just innately spooky and lends itself to the type of storytelling that festivals like yours celebrate.
Yeah, something that's just like slightly off from what you expect it to be is always the most unsettling, I think.
Right. What films do you have? What films are you involved in, or are you planning for the future, or is there any projects of your own you can give us a little tease about?
Yeah, so other than Killergeist, we're looking at doing a second extension of Killergeist Part 2. So actually what we did with Killergeist Part 1 is we filmed it in this pub theater, and we screened it in the pub theater, and the original cut ending of it, without giving anything away, had the live audience. And as the film ends, because it's all shot on found footage camera, this camera is coming back into the audience, and we had it triggered on our streaming stuff so that when the end of the film would happen, it would cut to a live feed but look seamless. And so the end of the film, the audience sees the back of their own heads. So
wow.
it was really
cool. A great idea, an interactive almost film.
Yeah, so we did around Halloween last year, we did 15 screenings of it, and so every night the film would end with the audience seeing themselves and being scared to death, which was pretty cool. It was pretty fun. So we're looking at doing a second one of those. A friend of mine is working on another horror script revolving some cult activity that we're going to be finalizing and filming soon, that he wrote me into. Actually, a lot of what I do is we do a lot of like dinner theater, murder mystery dinner theater stuff, the company I work for. We're just now kind of diving into films, but we're known for doing like custom shows. So like one year we decided we wanted to throw this huge masquerade ball, mostly to be able to buy masquerade costumes. We were so excited. So we wrote this whole murder mystery like based around that, and held this huge party for a whole weekend that was interactive, and that's most of what we do. Oh, it's the best time. Although the costuming for that was really painful. It was a lot.
You mean it was painful expensive wise, or it was painful to dress up in?
Painful to wear. So like I had this huge green ball gown that by the end of it, like my ribs were bruised because it was so heavy. Ouch. And wearing it every night. And then I had this giant snake headpiece that came off my head, and then my mask was attached. So it was a lot of just like heavy costuming.
Wow. And I thought I had it tough. Cool. I thought I had it tough in the Halloween Bird, the movie I've been making recently, where I had to put a monster costume on briefly. It doesn't sound quite as painful as that, though. I'm so excited about the festival. I just want to say quickly too, because I'm always talking about it on my podcast, and that's my short documentary, The Shaver Mystery, which is really a standalone segment, fiddled a little bit from my upcoming feature documentary, The Man Who Invented Flying Saucers. Anybody within Cooey range of Great Falls, Montana, here is your chance to see the film at a festival, because we have no plans to release this movie online. Maybe one day there'll be segments of it in the feature, but it's had a really healthy fest run. It's still running. If you're in the Great Falls area, you should go there and check out my film, because the festival, it just sounds amazing, and there's going to be so many incredible films screening there. I've seen a couple of them, and the ones I've seen, the only ones I've seen are all really like top-notch first-class films. I'm excited about the entire program. I'll have links within the show notes to where people can go and get more information about the festival, more information about Great Falls. But for those of people who are just listening, did you want to throw out some URLs or point people in the direction, give people the dates of the festival, those kind of things, Liz?
Yeah, so it's happening here in Great Falls, February 5th through the 7th. You can go to visitgreatfallsmontana.org, check out our events page, and you'll see the link to the Great Beyond Film Festival. You can also search greatbeyondmontana.com, I believe it is, and that'll pull up the Great Beyond Film Festival website, and all of the ticketing info is on there, or find us on Facebook, the Great Beyond Film Festival. We're doing promo every day, kind of giving sneak peeks of all of our films leading up to the screenings, and we want everyone to get out here, including you, Dean.
I want to visit so badly, I can't even tell you. I want to go to the Mermaid Bar, the Sip and Dip. Is that right?
The Sip and Dip
Lounge.
Yeah, I have a feeling that once the filmmakers get out here, I'm going to be taking a crew over to the Sip and Dip, because a lot of them were like, yes, take us there. We would like to go. So
it sounds absolutely amazing. And it was so great chatting to you tonight, Liz. Thank you so much for coming. Oh, thank you.
It was very, very fun.
It was fun. I learned so much more about the festival. I'm so excited about it. And until I get to talk to you again, Liz, which hopefully won't be in the too distant future, and until I get to talk to everybody else out there, which will be same weird time, 9 p.m. Central, Thursday nights, same weird network, the Untold Radio Network, please keep it weird.